Welcome to my channel. Old Coins News Today videos is one you won't miss. We're diving into the world of coins, so let's get it started. The 1971 D Washington quarter is one of the most representative examples of modern American coinage during the transitional years of the early 1970s, a time when the United States Mint had completely moved away from silver coin production and fully embraced the use of copper, nickel-clad compositions. Minted at the Denver Mint, designated by the small D mint mark located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. This coin stands as a reflection of the political, economic, and technological shifts that defined the United States during the post-silver era. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Sculptor John Flanagan, whose initials JF appear near the base of Washington's bust, designed both the obverse and the reverse. The coin replaced the standing Liberty Quarter and quickly became a staple of U.S. coinage. By 1971, the series had already been in continuous production for nearly 4 decades. The year 1971 was particularly important because it marked the 5th year since the removal of silver from circulating quarters. From 1932 through 1964, quarters were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. Beginning in 1965, the Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition, which was more durable, cost-effective, and resistant to hoarding, a major problem during the early 1960s silver shortage. The Denver Mint, operating since 1906, was one of the 3 primary facilities striking quarters that year, alongside Philadelphia, no mint mark, and San Francisco, which mainly produced proof coins. The D mark signifies that the coin originated from Denver's production lines. 2. Obverse design, the portrait of George Washington. The obverse of the 1971 D quarter features a famous profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan based on a 1786 bust by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon. Washington faces left, his hair tied back in a queue with a ribbon, symbolizing his classical 18th century dignity and American patriotism. Around the portrait appear the following inscriptions. Liberty at the top, symbolizing the founding principle of the United States. In God We Trust to the left of Washington's neck, representing the national motto reaffirmed during the mid-20th century. The year 1971 at the bottom, marking the coin's date of issue. The mint mark D for Denver, just to the right of the bow on Washington's ponytail. This design was simple yet enduring, reflecting both tradition and clarity. Although modest compared to later quarters with elaborate reverse designs, the 1971 D quarter's obverse embodies the timeless respect given to America's first president. The reverse design, also by John Flanagan, features a majestic heraldic eagle perched upon a bundle of arrows, symbols of strength, defense, and readiness to protect the nation. Beneath the eagle lies 2 olive branches, symbolizing peace. This combination of peace and strength reflects the national balance between diplomacy and defense during the Cold War era. Encircling the design are the inscriptions. United States of America at the top. The national motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one, just above the eagle's head, expressing unity among the states. Quarter dollar at the bottom, identifying the denomination. The eagle's outstretched wings and finely detailed feathers showcase the craftsmanship of the era. Even though the design had been used for decades, the Mint's modernized machinery in the early 1970s produced sharper, more consistent strikes compared to pre-1960s examples. 4. Composition, weight, and physical specifications. By 1971, all regular-issue Washington quarters were made with a clad composition, consisting of outer layers, 75% copper and 25% nickel. Core, center pure copper. This sandwich structure gave the coin its distinctive light silver-gray appearance, with a visible copper edge when viewed from the side. Specifications. Diameter, 24.3 millimeters. Thickness, 1.75 millimeters. Weight, 5.67 grams. Edge, reeded, 119 reeds. Composition, copper nickel-clad copper. This durable composition allowed the coin to resist wear and corrosion, making it ideal for circulation through decades of use. Many 1971 D quarters remain in service even today, over 50 years later. The Denver Mint struck a total of 258,634,428 quarters in 1971, a large mintage, typical for the era. The high production volume reflects the expanding U.S. economy and increasing demand for coinage during the early 1970s. Coins were produced using high-speed presses that could strike hundreds of coins per minute. Each blank planchet, a flat, round metal disc, was carefully measured for proper weight and composition before being struck between two dies bearing the obverse and reverse designs. After striking, the coins were inspected, bagged, and shipped to Federal Reserve Banks for distribution across the western and central United States. Although most 1971 D quarters were struck with precision, collectors have identified a few varieties and minting errors that can make certain examples more valuable. Double die obverse. DDO. Some quarters show light doubling on the word liberty or in God we trust. Clip planches. Coins struck on incomplete blanks show a curved or straight edge clip. Off-center strikes, caused when the planchet was not properly seated, resulting in part of the design missing. Die cracks and cuts, minor die wear or breakage producing raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin surface. Such errors are collectible and can fetch higher prices depending on rarity and condition. The value of a 1971 D quarter depends primarily on its grade, condition. Circulated condition, very fine to extremely fine, generally worth face value, 25 cents. Uncirculated condition, mint state 60 to 63, typically valued between $1 and $2. High mint state, MS65 plus, can reach $5 to $15, depending on luster and strike. Gem or exceptional specimens, MS67, MS68 rare, and may be valued at $100 to $300 or more at auction. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC often fetch premium prices if they exhibit bright surfaces, minimal contact marks, and strong strikes. The 1971 D quarter carries a deeper cultural symbolism. It was minted during a time when the United States was entering a new era, the post-Apollo moon landing period, the Vietnam War years, and the ongoing Cold War. This small coin circulated in the pockets of Americans during a decade of social change, economic adjustment, and national reflection. It also represents the stability of U.S. coinage. Despite technological changes, economic challenges, and inflation, the Washington quarter continued unchanged in design and purpose. It remained the cornerstone of commerce, used in vending machines, payphones, and daily transactions across the nation. 9. Collecting the 1971 D quarter. While not considered rare, the 1971 D quarter is an essential coin for anyone assembling a complete Washington quarter collection, 1932 to 1998. Collectors often seek examples from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints of each year, along with the San Francisco proofs, to represent the full series. Uncirculated rolls and mint sets from 1971 occasionally yield brilliant examples with sharp details and original luster. The 1972 D Washington quarter dollar, struck at the Denver Mint and bearing the D mint mark, stands as an enduring artifact of American coinage during the height of the copper-nickel era. Produced in vast quantities to meet the demands of an expanding U.S. economy, the 1972 D quarter represents both a continuation of the Washington quarter's classical design and a testament to the technological refinements and political symbolism of early 1970s America. Although it may seem like a simple everyday coin, its story, rooted in artistry, national identity, and industrial precision, is both profound and instructive. To appreciate the 1972 D quarter, one must first understand its place in the longer lineage of the Washington quarter series, which began in 1932. The design was introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, replacing the earliest standing Liberty quarter. Sculptor John Flanagan's design, chosen from a public competition, was based on a classical bust of George Washington sculpted by Jean-Antoine Houdon in 1786. This design would endure for over 6 decades, making it one of the longest-running motifs in U.S. coinage history. By 1972, the United States was firmly in the modern, post-silver era. Following the Coinage Act of 1965, the Mint had eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters, switching to the new copper-nickel-clad composition that proved durable and inexpensive. The move was driven by the global silver shortage and the rising intrinsic value of silver, which had led to massive hoarding of pre-1965 silver coins. Thus, by the time the 1972 D quarter entered circulation, the U.S. had adjusted completely to the new monetary reality. The Denver Mint played a major role in this modern production era. Its output in 1972 was immense, as the mint's presses operated around the clock to supply coinage for America's growing population and economy. Denver's D Mint Mark proudly identifies these coins as part of the western branch of U.S. production, a mint known for efficiency, consistency, and high-volume output. 2. Obverse design, the portrait of George Washington. The obverse front of the 1972 D quarter retains John Flanagan's dignified portrait of George Washington facing left, his hair bound neatly in a colonial-style queue. This image is instantly recognizable and has come to symbolize integrity, patriotism, and leadership. The sculptor's skill in modeling subtle facial features, such as a furrowed brow and strong jawline, ensures the image's enduring sense of realism and gravitas. Surrounding the portrait are the following inscriptions. Liberty arches boldly across the top, representing the foundational American ideal. In God we trust, the national motto reaffirmed during the mid-20th century, appears to the left of Washington's profile, symbolizing faith and resilience. 1972, the date of mintage, is centered below the portrait. The D Mint mark, denoting the Denver Mint, appears just to the right of Washington's ponytail ribbon. This side of the coin exemplifies early 20th century neoclassical design, restrained, elegant, and functional. By 1972, the obverse design had undergone minor die refinements to improve clarity and reduce metal flow weakness, yet it still preserved the spirit of Flanagan's original vision from 4 decades earlier. The reverse back of the coin displays a heraldic eagle, an enduring symbol of American strength and unity. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, emblems of military preparedness, and hold beneath it 2 olive branches, which represent peace and diplomacy. This balance between war and peace mirrors the dual character of the United States during the Cold War era, vigilant yet peace-seeking. Above the eagle's head are the inscriptions. United States of America arching at the top, signifying the issuing nation. The national motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one, positioned directly above the eagle, signifying the unity of diverse states and peoples. Quarter dollar curving below the design, identifying the denomination. The engraving on the reverse is sharply detailed, showing the eagle's outspread wings, tail feathers, and the individual arrows with crisp definition, especially on higher-grade strikes. The simple, symmetrical layout communicates balance, strength, and national pride without excessive ornamentation. The 1972 D Washington quarter conforms to the modern clad composition introduced in 1965. The outer layers are made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, producing a durable 3-layered structure. Specifications. Composition: copper-nickel clad, outer layers, over pure copper core. Diameter: 24.3 millimeters. Thickness: 1.75 millimeters. Weight: 5.67 grams. Edge: reeded 119 reeds. Orientation: coin alignment, top to top. The metal combination gives the coin a silver-white appearance with a faint copper hue visible on its reeded edge. Its resistance to corrosion and tarnish made it highly suitable for mass circulation, and coins of this era could last decades in daily use. 5. Minting process and production. The Denver Mint in 1972 produced an estimated 311,067,732 Washington quarters, an enormous output reflecting both technological advancement and economic demand. The production process began with the creation of blank copper discs, which were later clad with nickel layers and cut into planchets. These planchets were then washed, annealed, heat-treated, and polished before entering the coining presses. Each coin was struck under high pressure between two engraved dies, one for the obverse and one for the reverse. The precision machinery ensured consistent relief and detail, though variations occurred as dies wore down from repeated use. After striking, coins were automatically ejected, inspected, and bagged in massive quantities for shipment across the western and central United States. Although the 1972 D quarter was not known for any major varieties like double dies, a number of minor die anomalies and striking errors have been identified by collectors. These include die cracks, caused by aging dies, producing raised lines or spiderweb cracks, often visible near the rim or lettering. Cuds, small raised blobs of metal from die breaks, usually near the edges. Off-center strikes, coins struck outside the proper alignment, causing partial designs. Clip planches, curved or straight edge clips due to planchette punching errors. Weak strikes, common in the 1970s, often due to slightly worn dies or insufficient striking pressure. While these varieties are typically minor, they hold interest for era collectors and can fetch premiums depending on rarity and aesthetic appeal. The value of a 1972 D quarter depends largely on condition and grade. Because of its huge mintage, most examples found in circulation today are worth only face value 25 cents. However, uncirculated coins and those with exceptional mint luster can be of greater numismatic interest. Typical value ranges: circulated, fine to extremely fine 25 to 30 cents. Uncirculated, MS60, MS64 $1 to $2. Choice uncirculated, MS65, MS66 $4 to $10. Gem condition, MS67 plus $50 to $200 or more, depending on grading, service, and market demand. The 1974 D Washington quarter, minted at the Denver Mint in Colorado, is one of the quintessential examples of the U.S. Mint's modern copper-nickel-clad era coinage. Though often overlooked as a common pocket change piece, it encapsulates the artistry of American design, the technical precision of 20th century minting, and the social context of a turbulent decade. The small D beneath George Washington's neck signifies its origin from the Denver facility, a mark of a mint that, by the mid-1970s, had become one of the world's most efficient coin producers. 1. The historical setting, the Washington quarter in the mid-1970s. By 1974, the Washington quarter had already been in production for over 40 years. First issued in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, its design by sculptor John Flanagan had become a familiar emblem of the American Republic. The 1970s brought significant changes to American coinage and society alike: inflation, the oil crisis, and the transition away from precious metal coinage that had begun in the mid-1960s. The Coinage Act of 1965 had permanently ended the use of silver in quarters and dimes, substituting the new copper-nickel-clad composition, which remained in use through 1974 and continues to this day. This change reflected the broader economic reality. The intrinsic value of silver had risen beyond the face value of the coins themselves. Thus, by 1974, Americans were fully accustomed to the modern clad quarter, lighter in tone, slightly different in sound, and marked by the visible copper stripe along its reeded edge. Politically, the early 1970s were dominated by the Vietnam War's end, the Watergate scandal, and widespread distrust of government. Yet even amid these national challenges, the mint's coinage remained a symbol of continuity and unity, a simple, durable representation of the Republic's endurance. The obverse front of the 1974 D quarter features the stately profile of George Washington, facing left. Sculpted by John Flanagan from the 18th century bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, the portrait captures Washington's calm strength and classical composure. His hair is tied back with ribbon in colonial style, reflecting both his 18th century context and the neoclassical ideals of early America. Around the portrait appear the inscriptions: Liberty arching across the top in bold serif lettering, a declaration of the principle for which Washington fought. The motto "In God We Trust," placed to the left of Washington's neck, reaffirming America's spiritual heritage and national faith. 1974 position beneath the bust, denoting the year of issue. To the right of Washington's Q ribbon appears the small D mint mark, signifying the Denver Mint. By 1974, the Mint had refined its die engraving process, resulting in more consistent strikes with smoother relief and sharper detail. Washington's cheek and jawline often exhibit a strong, clean contour on high-grade examples, while lower-grade coins can show flattening due to circulation wear. The reverse, back, of the coin bears Flanagan's heraldic eagle, a majestic representation of American sovereignty. The eagle, with wings fully spread, perches upon a bundle of arrows, a classical symbol of strength and defense. Beneath the eagle lies a pair of olive branches, representing peace, the twin balance of might and mercy that defines American ideals. The inscriptions encircle the design. United States of America above, proclaiming national identity. E pluribus unum, out of many, one, positioned just above the eagle's head, symbolizing unity among diverse states and peoples. Quarter dollar at the bottom, identifying the denomination. The engraving shows subtle artistry. The feathers are finely laid, the arrows detailed, and the branches gracefully curved. Even though this reverse had been used since 1932, it remained visually strong and nationally meaningful, a timeless statement of the nation's authority and ideals. By 1974, all U.S. quarters were produced in the copper-nickel-clad composition introduced in 1965. The coin consists of an inner copper core with two outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. This bonded construction provided excellent durability and resistance to corrosion while maintaining a silver-like sheen. Specifications. Composition: 91.67% copper, 8.33% nickel, outer layers over a pure copper core. Weight: 5.67 grams. Diameter: 24.26 millimeters. Thickness: 1.75 millimeters. Edge: reeded, 119 reeds. Orientation: coin alignment, obverse and reverse top to top. This composition gave the coin a distinctive appearance, silver gray on the faces and reddish copper along the edge. The metallic layers were fused through a process of heat and pressure bonding before planchets were struck, ensuring a solid, durable structure suitable for heavy circulation. The Denver Mint, established in 1906, was by the 1970s the Mint's most productive facility. In 1974, it struck approximately 353,160,300 Washington quarters, an enormous quantity reflecting the Mint's industrial capacity and the nation's demand for circulating coinage. The minting process began with the creation of clad metal strips, from which blank disc planchets were punched. Each planchet was washed, annealed, and polished to remove oxidation before being struck under immense pressure, typically around 150 tons per strike, between obverse and reverse dies. The resulting impression produced the detailed relief of Washington's portrait and the eagle design. Following striking, the coins were automatically ejected, inspected, and bagged in 2,000 coin bags before being shipped to Federal Reserve banks for national distribution. The high mintage meant that the 1974 D quarter became one of the most widely circulated coins of its decade. Although 1974 D quarters do not feature any major list of varieties like double dies or overdates, collectors have documented a number of minor die errors and striking anomalies, such as die cracks or cuds, raised metal lines or blobs resulting from cracks in the die, off-center strikes, coins struck outside the collar, showing partial designs, clip planchets, curved or straight clips along the rim from miscut blanks, weak strikes, caused by worn dies or insufficient striking pressure. Die polish lines, fine, parallel lines in the field from maintenance of the dies. Such minting errors add character and individuality to coins, and while most are of minor value, dramatic off-centers or double strikes can fetch significant collector interest. As a high mintage modern issue, most 1974 D quarters are common in circulated condition. Their value in most grades remains face value, 25 cents. However, condition plays a crucial role in numismatics. Circulated, fine to extremely fine 25 to 30 cents. Uncirculated. Mint state 60 to 63 1 to $2. Choice uncirculated. MS64, MS65 3 to $8. Gem uncirculated. MS66, MS67 15 to $60. Superb gem. MS68 plus rare. Auction prices can exceed $150 to $300 depending on eye appeal and certification. Coins graded by PCGS or NGC are more desirable to serious collectors. Look for examples with strong strikes, full mint luster, and minimal contact marks, especially on Washington cheek and the eagle's breast, which are high wear areas. During the early 1970s, inflation and changes in consumer behavior increased demand for small denomination coins.